Alright folks, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about blueprinting receivers. I have got a Remington short action receiver inside my jig here. This is been trued in to within about 2/10 thou on the Bolt Raceway. So I put bushings inside here. There's actually still a bushing in here. I put them pretty tight. And then I true up off that mandrel that sticks, I don't know, somewhere out here, 6 to 8 inches in front of the actual receiver face. This gentleman bought a quote-unquote blueprinted receiver. I've already kind of checked it just because I was kind of curious, but right now I just wanted to show you something. I'm pretty sure the way that this receiver was blueprinted was somebody took a die, a 16 TPI, and I'm not really sure what size it is. I know there's a couple of different ones, and ran it down through the threads, which is fine because you're kind of taking metal and maybe opening it up a little bit. Maybe it opens up enough where it's a little bit looser on like a factory accurized or a factory threaded barrel, to where you're relying on this receiver shoulder to actually set the axial alignment through the rifle. I don't do it that way. I single point cut. I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of that hopefully today. But right now I've got my lathe locked in on 16 TPI. I've got my Mitutoyo 1/10 thou indicator. And one of the things I wanted to show was the fact that the threads inside here are all over the map. You can see we're up to 5 thou there, and then it runs back up. So it's not true at all. And as I'm running in, the bottom of my dial indicator is actually on the top of the threads. It's probably not the best way to do it, but for just trying to show you, it was the easiest way for me to set it up. I actually have a little bitty dial that I could get in the bottom of the threads, but it's going to show you the same thing with this. It's going to show you that it's out of round and it's not actually aligned at all. So with that being said, and you can see the jump from where this thing was actually machined. You can still see inside the threads there's a lip where some machining happened inside there, and I won't get into all of that, but I see it on every single receiver. But once this is done, all of that will be gone. And this one actually isn't bad. It's only about 5 thou out, and I've seen way worse than that. So what they did kind of help. The recoil lugs on the inside are not trued. I can tell that, and it's going to be really hard for me to show you that. And then the face is about, I don't remember what the face was. What is the face? I got a 10 thou gauge on here. All right, you can actually see the dial pretty good. I'm bumping it with this. So let's just go around. So really, the face is only about 1 thou out, which, you know, that isn't terrible. So I would say that, you know, that's better than probably 90% of the receivers. The bolt lugs weren't done, and the threads are cleaned up, but they're not trued up. And there is a difference. That's probably the best way to put it. They're cleaned up, but they are not trued up. Bolt face isn't too bad. It's, you know, 1 thou out. I'll get that a little bit better. The bigger thing is buying a quote-unquote blueprinted receiver. Bolt play inside the Raceway. I told you that there's bushings inside here. I've taken the front one out because I've got to reach in and touch off the bolt lugs. But bolt play is huge, and if you've got 10 thou of bolt play, and we'll pull this receiver out after I get done with this, and we'll check it, and I'll show you that as well. If you've got 10 thou of bolt play, your bolt's not setting in that receiver every single time the exact same way, and I don't care what anybody says. So on all of my receivers, when they're blueprinted, I sleeve the bolt and then also retime the bolt knob. Those are two things. A timed bolt knob anymore that's unheard of. It has to be done, and I've got a gentleman that'll TIG weld them for me, and it works out pretty slick. So I just wanted to show you, while this quote-unquote blueprinted receiver from a big company is blueprinted, there are certain things that are not done. And that's the reason a truly blueprinted receiver costs a little bit more money than just going down to a gun warehouse and buying a quote-unquote blueprinted receiver. So thought I'd show you that.